Welcome back, everyone. Elizabeth Sobel, President, CEO of SPAC. This is part two, because we couldn't fit anything into part one.
I know. And can I just say once again, though,
Yes.
Here we are in the beautiful jazz bar, my favorite place at
Well, we
SPAC.
never leave the jazz bar. Do you understand? Even when you're physically not here,
You're always
you don't
in the
leave
jazz
the jazz bar. I can still smell the summer air outside with Chuck Lamb and Jorge playing, right? You know what I mean?
And there's going to be more of that this
Oh my
summer.
God, yeah. We left off somewhere on Saturday. The Jazz Festival this year is the 42nd annual, a real study in the cultural significance of what it's like to put together this unique form of American music with all of the different cultural aspects, time, age, instruments, you name it, right? We were leaving off on Saturday, and I just have to go to the small stage.
Yes.
Because the small stage, which I think is called the Jazz Discovery Stage for this or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's new as of 3 years ago, as you know, the actual stage
The shed itself, yes, right, sure.
And people love the acoustic. I think it's made a big difference.
Well, you know what it is you get that opportunity to see an artist that you wouldn't necessarily be able to see with that intimacy.
Yes.
You know, that has a lot to do with
That's
something like
absolutely
that.
right.
There's one artist that I have to mention on Saturday, we could stay here for days, I'm telling you, is Lionel, and I'll take the responsibility here on the pronunciation, I think it's Luque.
Yes.
And this combination with Raoul Medon
Yes.
is a very incredible thing to see. And the reason I say that is that African jazz guitarists, you think Graceland, right? And that would be a kind of a good base point. They have this wonderful light touch to the way they play. It's so melodic. The clarity is incredible. And Raoul is, he's blind. And he has this wonderful sense about him, and he can be an orchestra unto himself. The combination of those two on a small stage here on the grounds at SPAC is incredibly unique.
Well, you know, I cast my mind back to, I think it was the first year, I don't know if you caught Corey Henry on,
I did.
On those, you know, like I worked with Corey when I was at Universal, and just like the explosiveness of that and the personal feeling. I mean, to your point of just like you're literally, it's almost like SPAC on stage. You're literally just like an arm's length from those artists and can feel the energy coming off it in a very different way.
And there is something about this, the acoustic qualities of being in open air. You know, people talk about SPAC and what they call the sheds around the country, the Tanglewoods and the Wolf Traps, is that there's an acoustic quality when an artist is sensitive and and the moments of quiet are as important as the moments of volume, that you're immersed in it.
Yeah.
It's something about the environment, the nature of it,
Absolutely.
right? Find your center.
Find your center. Thank you.
There you go.
Yes.
All right,
it's nice to hear that stuff reiterated out there.
Well, that happens to be true, by the way. Hey, let's move into Sunday. All right, you can take it.
No, you're doing.
You want me to take
I want
it?
you to keep going, man. I'm learning so much. Listening to you talk about our artists.
I had to take notes just to try to keep up. But let's go right to Norah Jones, okay?
God, yes.
You know, someone who broke on the scene in a pop vein, actually, right? And this wonderful, honest, silky voice, no pretense.
Yeah, such simplicity and yet such musical integrity and kind of a, just the melodic sense just slays you. I mean, I swear to God, every time I hear, you know, Come Away With Me, like you hear it in every elevator and, you know, and it's the kind of thing where you hear it so much and it never fades. It never loses that magic of transporting.
That's right. Wonderful. And someone who is a musician's musician.
Yes.
You know, we talk about that sometimes. Wonderful clip of her and Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones performing together. That'll show you the range of somebody like that. You know, and I don't know about anybody. I don't care when the first time you heard Don't Know Why, but, you know, just the whole art of just getting inside the lyric and getting inside the melody without any pretense.
That's right.
Not too demanding. It requires you to listen.
Yeah.
And again, the setting here at SPAC is absolutely phenomenal. We got to jump to the other side. Trombone, Shorty. Yeah. You want to take it?
Well, you know, just to say, I think that this plays back into the surprise I had when I came to Saratoga and just discovered what an amazing jazz city this place is. And I mention that because Trombone Shorty was at the Skidmore Jazz Institute, you know, and that institute is so important and turns out so many really extraordinary artists. I mean, John Baptiste has a connection to it. I mean, there's just so many. So I just think that we've got the acoustic here, we've got the feel here in the park, but the downtown of Saratoga and Skidmore, it's just such a rich, incredible place. So, so I don't think I have to like go into Trombone Shorty details, but just to say he's the one. He's closing
well, bring your dance
the
shoes.
festival.
I'll tell you right now. Another one of those situations where if the musicians can't stop smiling at each other because they're constantly up raising the bar, and they're just constantly working off of each other. And what the power of that is absolutely incredible. Some kind of eclectic things are happening at the Jazz Festival that I love. The Django Festival All Stars.
Oh my God! That
right.
is,
This
again,
is
keep your
incredibly
dance shoes on.
unique
Yeah.
collaboration here. Paying tribute to Django Reinhardt. Again, one of the kind of guitarists that blended the fusion of Cuban and jazz. I think they called it gypsy jazz, as I think what they called it. And this is a collection of guitarists, and they were augmenting it with, I think, a singer and also a saxophonist to just pay tribute to Reinhardt, but try to play the music.
Yeah.
It takes 3 or 4 guitarists to try to nail just the essence of how talented
the virtuosity.
Reinhardt was.
I mean,
yes,
keeping up with the virtuosity is really something.
When you bend into some of the more traditional kind of jazz things, Joshua Redman is somebody that is one of my personal favorites. If you don't hear Charlie Parker in there, you're not listening. And a whole generation before him, by the way. And just that the real essence, stand-up bass, drum kit where the guy understands the value of cymbals. You know what I mean?
Well, I think, just kind of where we've come over, starting with Nora and Trombone Shorty to Joshua Redman, again, speaks to the richness of this festival. And it's one of the challenges because, we're trying to bring artists and groups that really speak to the lover of straight ahead jazz, right? But then we also need to bring in that new generation and broaden the audiences here. So like that juggling of finding things that are going to appeal to varied tastes while also keeping the core of the straight ahead jazz that's so important and really underlies all of this. So that's, I think this year is a great mixture.
The mixture is amazing, and I've got one other artist. I'm going to mess the name up, I think, but do yourself a favor and go to YouTube and check Cha Wa. You want to talk about funk? You want to talk about beat? You know what? You can program a computer these days and assimilate what this person probably wakes up dreaming about. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's absolutely true, and I think that. Every year we've been trying to find sort of those out there around the edges kind of artists. I mean, for year one we had Jacob Collier, who's somebody who's the one who has does all the different layers of his music. He does it himself, and then how you translate that to a stage is really incredible. But again, I would just say that I would really urge people who. I know they come here and they love sitting on their tarps and drinking wine and sharing the fellowship with everybody, but I would really just urge people to go over to that discovery stage and not just hear it from afar. And I would also urge people to go into the amphitheater because the amphitheater artists are so spectacular, but a lot of people enjoy it from their tarp, which I totally get, but the artists miss having people in the amphitheater. And that's something we're really trying to encourage because put yourself in the position of an artist who's playing their heart out on that massive stage, and there might be 600 people sitting in the amphitheater on Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. So I really want to root for a full amphitheater when those artists are going on stage. Get your friends and your family to go into the amphitheater so that the artists feel the energy. It's really
what someone
important.
said to me once about what you're saying? They said, think of it this way, you're having a conversation and no one is in the room. You know what?
Exactly right.
This is what this means to musicians. And of course, that free flow atmosphere, which goes back 42 years, I remember it. It is just, families on the blankets. You go over to the festival gazebo, and you get that intimate connection with an artist that someday you're going to be saying, you won't believe it, but I heard so and so.
Right.
I was 10 feet from this person. That's how that happens, and those traditions are built that way. And then you just think about the main stage, one of the most beautiful places in the country to be, in the world to be. So yes, do that. Make sure that you move around and make sure that you show respect to the artists, because they're there for us.
Yeah, and we want these artists to come back and grace the stage year after year. I mean, I will tell you honestly, there have been a couple of artists who have said we'll choose not to play there because they don't want to play to an empty amphitheater. I mean, we've been fiddling a little bit with timings and the actual way the afternoons run, so that we can encourage people to go into the amphitheater. I know that Jazz Fest is like one of those things, like our resident companies, where nobody wants to touch a hair on the head.
Yes, right.
Which I completely understand and appreciate. On the other hand, there are things we need to do for the artists to feel that excitement, and getting people to into the amphitheater is absolutely key. So we want those artists coming back and having
you know what?
great
You not only get entertained, you learn something, and there won't be a quiz at the end of the festival.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Although maybe that's an idea.
Oh, good. Well, leave it to me.
Well, a quiz, a Jazz Fest
Well,
quiz.
we're out of time again.
Well,
thank you so much. I can't wait for this summer.
Well, thank you for bringing all your depth of knowledge and your passion. I mean, who else comes and does an interview after having spent so many hours
just
looking and listening? I
labor
really
of love,
appreciate
my dear.
that. No, thank you so much.
Great to see you, Elizabeth.
You too. Thanks.
See this interview again. You can head to our website, looktvonline.com.